Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our panel. I'm super, super proud to be on stage with all my beloved expert and guest. The topic, as you can read from the title, is really in which way Art Deco was marking a very important moment in design, especially in jewelry, and in which way Art Deco is still today influencing most of the design work, but at the same time, the love for collectors and everything which relates to this amazing moment in time in terms of innovation, new technologies, new ideas, new concept, and so on. So, myself, Donatella Zappieri, I'm a jewelry business consultant. I've been around for a few years in this industry, always with this interesting balance between design, marketing, business. And I've been observing throughout my years of work the way design has been evolving, and I also had the opportunity to really study history of design, but I will definitely also leave the floor to all my experts to share with you everything they know about the topic and in which way they are definitely breaking grounds in this overall reality. So here they are, starting from my left-hand side, Valerie Dannenberg. I've just learned from you about your wonderful collection of Art Deco pieces, but next to that, you are today a creative person who is really been influenced by this amazing deep dive in the Art Deco world. Amanda Triossi, very well-known jewelry historian, a person I've learned a lot from. We've been sharing a lot of adventures together, and someone I really appreciate for all the knowledge that you can share with us. Alice Villa, fifth generation of Villa family, a new soul in Villa family, and creative director of the brand. So bringing a lot of interesting insights in everything she's developing from the family business. And Alexander Torroni, collector, dealer, passionate about jewelry, design, antique objects. And again, you know, someone I've been learning a lot from throughout all the conversation that we had so far. So let's get into this topic, which is, of course, very much related to the 100th anniversary of Art Deco. Everything started in 1925 with the Paris exhibition. Today in Genève, we have this amazing exhibition that brings a lot of interesting pieces related to Art Deco. We also have wonderful dresses coming from a special collection. It's a moment, it's a wave of design that has really influenced all of us. Still, you know, starting with a very difficult moment after the First World War and bringing a lot of new energy in the overall creative background. I don't want to spend much time about the key highlights of Art Deco. I really would like to leave the floor to all my guests. And I really would like to start with my, with my first part of talk, which is very much related to heritage, to history, and starting with a question to Amanda, and really asking her, from her perspective, I know it's going to be difficult to summarize Art Deco in a few words, but just give us a few highlights about that special moment and in which way, through its different facets, it has really influenced the overall design today.
What an amazing, terrible task.
I know.
Well, just looking at this slide, I mean, what are the ingredients of particularly the Art Deco that coincides with the mid-1920s? So it's linear design, we can see it, well, if you go back to that, the Egyptian revival style, linear design, geometric, color and stylization. And of course, eclecticism in sources of design. This one is probably 1925. 1922, there was the famous discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. So designers were captivated by the Egyptian designs. Why? Because they provided color and stylization. And last but not least, of course, it's new techniques, new cuts of diamonds, for example, which we don't see here, but the baguette and the, for example, trapeze shapes or unusual shapes that allow geometric forms. So it's always technology, which helps in a way the design. Then I wanted to show you a very interesting, well, of course, this is the spirit that coincides around the 1925 exhibition, which, as we all know, gave the name to the whole movement. The Art Déco comes from the Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs, the abbreviation. But I wanted to show you this, I think, is very interesting, the following image. Which is a design which was presented by Boucheron to the committee of the 1925 exhibition, and it was approved. And here on the other side, you can see the finished object. Once again, notice the same ingredients: linear design, geometric outline, and the flowers are stylized. And there's, of course, this color. And color not only in contrasting colors, but also different effects. These are the buff top, calibré cut colored gemstones, which is another absolute ingredient. And so this couldn't be more Art Deco. And it was also earrings, long earrings, which were one of probably the ultimate fashionable luxury accessory of the 1920s. I don't know if you've got, yes, and you can see the long pendant earring filled the gap between the short hair, the bob, and the neck. And of course, it's for the first time in the West that women cut their hair à la garçonne in the 1920s. So I think if that is the little summary of the ingredients of Art Deco of the mid-20s.
Thank you very much, Amanda. And I love also what you mentioned about the feminine style that started to shape itself, if I may say, in those years. Also because women played a very important role during the World War. They were working hard during the war. And then after the war, they kept this very interesting balance between the working uniform and the elegant life, the joie de vivre that started to happen very much in those years. And what you were explaining to us about the style, the design, really, I think, integrates very much this new mood and way of designing and integrating jewelry in our lives. So, from a collector point of view, Alexandre.
Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Ronnie. I would like to speak with you about Alfredo Ravasco and his importance in the Art Deco period. Donc, first, my point of view for Alfredo Ravasco is Art Deco. On his Art Deco period, you can see in this picture the importance of the base of the object with colorful and powerful material as lapis lazuli, malachite, or chalcedonia. And he always used this base to put the object and the subject on the top, more comfortable and very easy to see. And his particularity, he was using enamel and carving stones, and also many other precious and semi-precious materials.
materials. And what you can find very easily to see a Ravasco piece is the base with these colorful stones. And after that, use precious, semi-precious stones and precious stones to add on the cup, like in this one, and brings more precious. Look, it's very simple piece, become now a precious artifact with this platinum and sapphires cabochon and also silver setting to give a contrast of the color. And you can see the Art Deco lines in the shape of the piece we can see now. What is very interesting with Alfredo Ravasco is his fantastic 3D dimension on the jewelry pieces, and he used a lot of different stones, like you can see the carré, the round stones on the pictures, and also the symmetric and asymmetric brooch on the left side. And all of these bring fantastic pieces of jewelry, and for me it's very rare to find all of these pieces on the market because it was very collectible, and most of the pieces are still in private Italian family or European family, and also with few collectors. Donc, all of these things made Alfredo Ravasco very unusual on the market.
Thank you. And it was also very interesting to see in those years the way let's say, the French influence was brought also to the Milanese territory, and on the other way around, in which way the Milanese influence of Ravasco was influencing.
The influence of Ravasco, right, is from the 16th century with this old Italian family was cutting the hardstone with precious metals, and this is a good influence for Ravasco on his work.
But I think we have to specify that Ravasco was a jeweler from Milan.
Exactly.
That's
Milan,
which
yes.
maybe not everybody. We
Thank you.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was mentioning Italy.
Yes.
I wasn't. Yeah, absolutely. So that's an important element, which also brings me the conversation to Alice from Milano, fifth generation of Villa Milano jewelry. Alice is since a couple of editions at Gem Genève, among the first of all the emerging talents, and today as the new designer. And she's really developing in a very interesting way her family tradition. And nowadays, as a creative director, she's really integrating a lot of this heritage in what she does and the output she has in terms of design. So my question to her would really be, in which way your family heritage, but at the same time, the reference to Art Deco, Ravasco work, and so on, were important at the very beginning of your path as a creative designer?
So I think in the creative process, the past is one of the main sources for me. I give a lot of importance to what my predecessors did, especially in terms of design and lines. So for many reasons, I always try to start creative process by looking and diving into the archives and into the photos, pictures, the sketches of the past of pieces that were done in the past by the 4 previous generations. And this for 2 reasons. First, I think it's very important if you are an historical brand trying to renew the lines and the pieces and to go ahead in the future, to look at the past, trying to find and keeping a sort of fil rouge with what was done previously. And this because it's important to make every piece recognizable in a way. So you must innovate, you must introduce new lines, but as well you must find a way to have something in common with your past and your origins. Second, I think from the past we can learn a lot, and in particular from Art Deco, which is the style that I mostly prefer. I think it's important to start the creative process in educating the eye and to balance lines and to balance, I would say, proportions. So I think it's like writing something new on a lined paper. So this is the idea. So you start from something that is, you look at something that is balanced, and then you can start from there creating new pieces. So I really give a lot of importance to the foundations of the creative process, and I'm very lucky because I have a lot of material to look at, and my predecessors did a great job, I think. And I also love Ravasco, and we are collectors of the objects, but of course everything he did was very important and influenced a lot what I did in the past. Among the styles of the past and the periods, Art Deco is definitely what probably characterized more and influenced more our creativity. As you can see here, these are some of our recent pieces, apart from the top, the ring on the top left. All the rest is new and is recent. You can see we always try to find a balance between lines and proportions. You see the lines are very clean, and it's a sort of austere elegance that characterize all our pieces. We love to play with hard stones. We love to play with, for example, in this case, the necklaces with the moonstones. So we like to play with precious materials, but as well as onyx, and in that case, a silk cord that is very Art Deco in a way. But every time we start from the past, we always add something. For example, the Art Deco necklace that is in the picture, it has a detachable bead that can be adapted to different uses. So this is probably what we should do always more, to try to adapt the styles from the past to the present and to the need of the new customers, of course.
Absolutely, thank you. And I think this is a very interesting way for you to bridge, you know, your family tradition towards modernity, contemporarity, and somehow also matching what is the taste of the new generation and the new consumer who are starting to approach jewelry. Which brings me to Valérie. I have to say it was a very nice, if I may say, discovery of you here at GEM Genève. Once again, Valérie is also among the emerging designers here at the show. And discussing and talking to you, it was very interesting to learn more about your path. Again, from a family of dealers, so you were brought up, you know, in this world of collectors and antique dealers, which again shaped your creativity. So I really would like you to share with our audience once again, you know, in which way you were bridging your education, your past into what is today your jewelry collection and your creative direction.
So my name is Valerie Dannenberg, and I'm Franco-American. My father was American from New York. He was a very famous art dealer in the 70s. And my mother is French, Parisian, from a very traditional French family. And in the end of the 70s, they moved to Paris. They moved back to Paris. And they opened a fantastic Art Deco antique shop in the Louvre des Antiquaires. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Louvre des Antiquaires. And they dealt in particularly Art Deco, may it be glass, paintings, jewelry, everything. They dealt in everything. But my mother had a passion and a love for jewelry that she transmitted to me. And yes, I worked with them for 20 years, and it was a fantastic experience because we were collectors and buyers of all the most beautiful jewelry of the Art Deco period, may it be Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels, all the wonderful French brands in particular. And I must say, like I told you, I was kind of more a collector than a dealer, which led me to collect Boivin jewelry in particularly designed by Suzanne Belperron, which is my how would you say, my fetish designer, my model. I think she's extraordinary. I love the way she also mixes rock crystals, semi-precious stones, all kinds of different materials. And she also had a wonderful style, like we showed in the pictures previously with, you know, the short hair and the style and everything of the 1920s, 25 from the Art Deco period. So that's one thing I loved, and which led me to eventually open my own shop and my brand, where I got inspired, of course, by the Art Deco, because I think I love anything geometrical, symmetrical, and I love the perfection and the beauty of the lines. And when we used to buy antique jewelry and resell it, of course, I would always think there's something I could maybe ameliorate, maybe I could do something not better, but maybe more modern. So that's what I tried to do, is to ally the style of the Art Deco with all the geometrical lines and the modernity of what people want today. And so, which led us to have wonderful young clients, lots of young clients. And they come to us mainly for engagement rings and jewelry. So that's what I do today. And I have my own brand in Paris. And I'm happy to have shown it here in Gem Geneva. And,
Do you want to share the story about the ring on the left?
about the Victorine ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
I think especially talking to the young generation.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting that the ring that's on the left, the ruby and diamond ring, which is part of my Victorine collection, is really a very typical Art Deco design, which was kind of the awesome engagement ring at the time in the 20s, 30s, and everybody wanted a ring like this. And today it's very difficult to make these rings because of all the caliber cut rubies, sapphires, or emeralds that are around them. And we've revived this collection and kind of modernized it. And, you know, we make it in all different shapes. This one is square with cut corners. But I love also octagonal jewelry, so I make a lot of octagonal designs. And this one also exists that way, and in round. And it's kind of very popular. I'm surprised amongst a lot of young people who love the Art Deco. There you go.
Which is absolutely very interesting, and I think it's also, I guess, one of the main topics that we will develop together with my panelists today and the audience. I mean, it's a movement that has influenced so much our lives, but at the same time, it is a movement that it is still extremely contemporary. I think there are elements, geometry. Earlier on, Alicia was talking about the idea of versatility, the blocks of colors, the influence of other traveling experience and so on. There are so many elements that still resonate to all of us, and I think they can really be an amazing push forward when it comes to new design, but at the same time with a reasoning to the young generation who are looking in the past in order to develop something new to their taste. And this brings me, let's say, to the evolution of our conversation, trying also to identify a little bit what is next in terms of Art Deco. Today at the show, again, we have the amazing exhibition. We have all the collectors, so we can really browse and seek and hunt wonderful Art Deco pieces, but at the same time, new designers, emerging designers, so we feel these vibrancies. So I'd like to go back to Amanda, to the topic that I kind of like to define as enduring aesthetics, and I really would like to ask you, you know, from your perspective as an historian, as a person who has been impregnated, is that the right word?
No.
I do. What is next? I mean, I know you're also teaching, developing all your know-how.
As a
and sharing
historian,
it.
one always looks back. But definitely, I was involved in a very interesting project.
Tell me when I need to unveil it.
Unveil it. I teach a course on history of jewelry design for the IED, the IED of Rome, the Istituto Europeo del Design, the master course. Some of my students are here, and I thought, given that there was the 100th anniversary of the very famous 1925 exhibition, to involve the students of doing jewelry design master, to involve them in some way in a project for GEM Genève. And so it was my idea to involve the master course and the students to contribute with a fresh eyes, designs, to their personal interpretation, a contemporary interpretation of Art Deco. And some of their designs are exhibited at the end of the exhibition. I don't know if you have seen them, but maybe we can unveil some. And I will try and illustrate them, but we have the creators in the audience, so maybe it will be. So here we have a pair of earrings, very, in a way, deco, but they are completely contemporary. First of all, it's contemporary material. It's titanium, gray and blue. So, and the earrings are pivoted, so when they move, and they were inspired, is that right, by traditional Indian dance, and that you rotate, and so the earrings are supposed to rotate, and so you, I think you can see the color, the colored of titanium. So the design is very linear, very geometric, and in a way they're long earrings, so there is a reference to the past, but they're definitely contemporary because they are contemporary material. They're much fuller than a 1925, for example, earring would be, and I think they're very light, very wearable, and so it's a wonderful example of. It's called, what the project is called, New Gen Deco. That's what the project is called. The next one is a brooch in, it's always titanium, black enamel, sapphires, diamonds, and at the center is a coral bead, and it fans out. So there is this, it is flat, but it opens like a fan, so you can keep it closed and open. And you can see these very geometric linear lines, and of course the black that accents a lot of Art Deco designs is used here again. So it's interesting way of another interpretation, another view, but and here a real feast. A ring inspired, this is by Manas, here sitting in front of here, and it's an emerald, gold, titanium, enamel and malachite ring. And what is interesting, it is movable. So you can slide it, and wear it as a double ring. Notice the graphic on the side is reminiscent of the Art Deco designs of buildings of Mumbai. As you probably know, Mumbai is a great, there is a lot of very important 1920s Art Deco architecture. Manas is from Mumbai and was inspired, so it's interesting, his cultural heritage, Art Deco, but pushed to the 21st century. Then we have a pair of earrings, but much, let's say they're not earrings because the dimension is huge. They're kind of ear muffs, open ear muffs, gold, pearl, and multicolored sapphires ranging from pink to patparacha. And these are designed by Marco. And they are, I believe, they're more Art Deco, sort of, it's the evocation of a moment, of the sort of roaring 20s, the sort of, the idea of wild parting, isn't it? Sort of the idea of this sort
Joie de
of...
vivre.
The joie de vivre, exactly. The roaring, the sort of roaring 20s, fireworks, sparkle, champagne, bubbling. Like, I don't know. Is that correct? Yes. Maybe afterwards they can explain it better. And Sanjana instead designed a brooch. And this is platinum, sapphires, pearls, and diamonds. And I see it as a sort of cup, like a sort of not a flute, yes, a cup, champagne cup, and sort of the sparkle again. But what is interesting, and so you can see these sort of deco lines, the buff top calibre sapphires, which of course is typical, and then this tassel motif, a bit like the sort of tassels that you would have in a flapper dress. But the whole ensemble is something quite modern and contemporary. So this is the IED's vision, and I say the new gen deco, which maybe is the direction in which
Absolutely.
the deco is going.
Yeah, very, very great job. And at the same time, I think it was very good also to listen to Amanda explaining all your creative outputs and, you know, have you somehow on stage, right, while she was explaining everything that you've been developing. So let's hang on a second about design, because I really also wanted to go back 1 second with Alexandre. And really, we've been talking about collecting. You know, I think this has been a strong element in all your lives. And from your perspective, again, you are the new generation of Toroni family. You were raised, brought up in collecting. What is the attitude today of new generation towards collecting? What are they looking for? What are the elements?
My point of view about the new generation on collectible pieces is we have to start with a new generation with small items, small pieces, but the most important thing is to start with something. And the education passed by exposition like what we have today in Genève, passed by also the fantastic museum in Geneva, in Paris, in Italy. Like Ravasco used to become a jeweler like this, he was inspired by Venice, Milano, all the Italian fantastic place and museum. And today, for me, to start not a collection, but we have to go on this kind of place like Genève or auction houses or shops and just have some interest and always ask questions to the dealers, to the people in the museum. And maybe one day we can start to have new collection, but the collection takes time to make a collection and patience. And my point is today we can find also new designer with Art Deco inspiration, with other inspiration, and also we can collect new pieces, and in 100 years will be the old pieces of today, of before.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And then I think it's very interesting what you mentioned about studying and, you know, always trying to be informed about things.
Exactly.
Because that's the
But
way.
what today is modern for us, for our next generation, it will be old.
Absolutely.
No, why not to start a collection with modern pieces from new designers and make a collection?
Definitely. And then when you look at your younger generation customers coming to you, what are they looking for? I mean, is Art Deco for them relevant?
The new
their search,
customer, in my opinion, they are very influenced by the new big brands because we see every day promotion, advertisements, and it's difficult to have a point of view when when you don't have the knowledge on the jewelry. We don't have information. You don't have. You never listen your grandmother say, "Look at my old ring," and you only go to the big brands. This is a point, and they want to copy a lot that. But sometimes they don't have the money to buy this. No, me, I push the people to go on the old items, old pieces, because it's already created. Before the makers have a lot of time at disposition, and the time was not like today, everything in the rush. We have to go fast, fast, fast to make a ring in 5 days, or 1 month to give the ring ready. Before, to make a ring, we had process of design, drawings. Okay, we start to work with the precious metal. The metal was more rare, cost money before, also today, but before everything was more difficult to have. Donc they take attention on every details, and me, I try to recommend to the new generation to start also with antique pieces because we don't have we have the quality of very good makers, and they made very fine pieces with a lot of time at disposition. But we also consider modern jewelry, of course. And what I suggest also for the new generation is to have both in the collection. You can have antique, modern pieces. The things is just they need to like what I propose or what they can find
Absolutely.
in the market.
Yeah. So thank you. And I'd like to go back a little bit more about, we forgot two of your designs.
Two, exactly.
Yeah, sorry. So why don't I just, let's do like that. I go to Alice and Valerie, and then maybe we get back to those two. Sorry about that. Because I don't see the slide, so I have to push that. Yeah. So, Alice, I really would like you to, once again, with your new generation mindset, to express a little bit more in which way you develop further your design, in which way you create this transition between your heritage, your made in Milano jewelry, and when it comes to the new generation, what are they looking for? I mean, are they looking for the link with history? Are they looking for your own interpretation? I think you are today, with a huge responsibility to develop further what your family did and the heritage. So what is really your approach towards that? And in which way, if I may say, you observe, the new generation trying to match the balance between past and future?
So in a way, I agree with Alexander saying that sometimes customers are not educated to the history of the jewelry, so it's very important, and we are lucky because we have the time and we have a sort of a type of store where we can spend time with customers and guide customers to the purchase. It's a very personal relationship that we have with customers, so we normally have the time to explain what's behind every design that makes it special. So in terms of what they're looking for, our customers, as we just sell our own design, they never come asking for an Art Deco piece as they would do with an antique dealer, but they come for a specific style. So we have our own style that hopefully is recognizable, and I think that our style that is a lot linked to Milan and to the Milanese, I would say, style, is in a way linked to Art Deco. Let me explain. So Art Deco was born in a time after the World War I. So women were becoming more dynamic, and they had to, like, the jewelry needed to reflect that type of lifestyle. And I think Milan, in a way, can represent that idea. And we always, people in Italy at least, they say that Milan is always in a hurry. Not Rome, for example. Yeah, Amanda could confirm that.
Absolutely.
So Milan is always looking for things, jewelry, clothes that can adapt to a very dynamic life. So everything must be well designed, efficient in a way. And so the Art Deco inspiration in jewelry goes towards that direction, because pieces were, as we were saying before, with clear lines, compact, or long, but in very simple designs. The idea of Art Deco is very coherent with the Milanese idea. And also, if you look at Milanese architecture, there's a lot about hearthstones and the famous enterways in Milan. You should buy the book Enterways of Milan, that is very representative. So the use of metals, the use of hearthstones, very austere lines. So this is something that people, like customers in our store, are looking for. They want to find that sort of fil rouge in all the creations, and so probably they do not recognize the Art Deco itself, but they recognize that type of style that they want. And also another thing that is happening a lot is that, for example, we are mounting a lot of important stones in very simple, elegant, and we would say materic mountings. This is because Milanese style is always about understated elegance, is never showy. And also in this way, I think we can find a sort of connection with the Art Deco style. In the Art Deco, it was not about showing the wealth. It was before the war, that idea. After the war, it was much more about the style that you wanted to look for. So we try to create statement pieces where, of course, diamonds are included, precious metals are included, but that is not the main purpose. It's just an instrument to get to the style that we want to create. So customers, in my opinion, especially now, are always asking more for design pieces, statement pieces, conversation pieces, more than jewels through which they show their wealth, which is absolutely not Milanese in terms of style. So even the customers who can buy important jewelry, they try to understate the importance of the stones they own or they buy by mounting them in very, I would say, subtle mounting. We often mount big diamonds in copper rings, so I know it's sometimes difficult to kind of explain that, but this is what happens a lot in Milan.
Thank you, Alice. And it's interesting when you talk about metals and materials, because once again, you do a lot of experimentation in your manufacturing small laboratory in front of your store. And I think this also relates very much to the Art Deco, which was all about experimenting, bringing innovation, and so on. So I think there again, you also have this very interesting link. Valerie, we had the Milanese view, the Parisian view when it comes to your creativity, your designs. Again, always with the angle, with the focus about young consumers, when they come to your store, what are they looking for? Are they, in which way they relate to the inspiration that we really find so strongly in your designs from Art Deco?
It's a very interesting question. I always tell my clients, I'm a woman and I design jewelry for women. So I try to make my jewelry really wearable and agreeable and comfortable, which is really important for me. And then I'd say, for example, I was very touched by the design of this young lady with her earrings that represent a dance. All of your designs were really beautiful, but I love that because dance is so feminine. And I made a collection, earrings and a pendant called Roxanne, and they represent the dance of the Charleston, the flap dresses and all that, because I think jewelry needs to dance, kind of. You know, I love that. So I really loved your design. Yeah. So that's one thing I like. I like movement in jewelry. I don't like static. I don't like heavy. I like jewelry that looks like lace. You know, so my clients, my young clients, relate to that. They want, especially the French, also like the Italians. They're kind of understated. You know, they want chic, less is more, elegant, voilà. And one of my specialities is everything is handmade, and we work our jewelry like lace. I mean, every little piece of gold is chiseled with what we call the milgrain, which is tiny little balls of gold that are all handmade, you see? So our jewelry is kind of, as opposed to what I've heard, you know, about today's jewelry that's very fast and all that, our jewelry is slow jewelry. Because we work like, you know, at the period of the Art Deco and before, of course, in the tradition of the craftsmanship of French jewelry, which is made, it takes a long time to make. It can take months and also can take years to make a jewel in our company, because that's what we like to do. I like to take my time. And so I make slow jewelry. So actually when it comes out, it's really beautiful because it's a lot of work to it, as opposed to what today, unfortunately, we see a lot is, mass production and all that. But there's also a space for people like us who want to perdure the traditions, because for me, jewelry is an art, and art is an emotion. So when you were asking, you know, why do people, how do they relate? I always say you need, in French, we say, il faut le coup de foudre. In English, I don't know how you say it, you've got to be struck by lightning when you see a jewel. You love it, you don't know why. You got an emotion like when you see a painting or anything else. So if you're going to buy a jewel, you want to have that emotion, and that's what my clients look for. So they kind of seek jewelry all over, and the day they find a great emotion, that's when they're going to buy it. So what else?
Thank you. And it's very interesting what you mentioned about the slow, you know, slow jewelry.
I like everything slow in life, because I think the life of today is too fast and we're missing out on everything, you know?
No, absolutely.
Missing out. And making beautiful jewelry, it takes a lot of time. I tell my clients, you know, it's going to take 8 weeks to make, because it's hours and hours of workmanship, and they appreciate that, which is great.
And it's the respect also of a savoir-faire, of a skill.
And sustainability. Absolutely. And not having stuff made abroad. Why not? We have the best jewelers in France. Why go elsewhere?
Definitely. No, absolutely. So, and do you think this is also an element which is appreciated by the young generation?
Absolutely. There are a lot of people that are, you know, tired of, may it be fast food or fast jewelry or fast fashion, you know. So a lot of people, young people, and I hope more of them will, because it's great for your generations, that they come back to slow jewelry. Take your time. It takes a long time to make something beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely, which somehow also goes back to what Alexandre was mentioning about collecting.
Absolutely.
That you said, you know, young generation, maybe they're more influenced by les grandes maisons.
And
but
some are not, well, they don't know we need 6, 8 weeks to make a piece. The things we print 3D, it's done.
No.
They cannot imagine all the work we have on the back to realize each pieces, each diamond. Maybe in the ring you have 300 stones.
Exactly.
I don't know, but 250, one by one, set in 4 rings. You make the calculation.
The milgrain and all that. It's all
please, the
handmade.
young generation, be organized. Come 6 weeks before when you need a ring.
Sometimes even 6 months.
Yeah, sometimes.
It might take.
Because sometimes I need the ring in 5 days. Okay, but we just have one and simple ring and that's it.
Solitaire.
Solitaire. But organization is important also.
Absolutely,
It
absolutely.
takes times.
So thank you. I mean, I think it's very interesting, and all your insights are interesting also as a further elaboration on what is happening. Amanda, I get back to you because I have to excuse myself if I missed one. There we go, two designs from the new generation.
From the new gen Déco.
So I think again they should have their.
So Art Deco New Gen, sorry.
Sorry.
Here's two interesting interesting designs. The designers themselves, unfortunately, are not here, but represented by their colleagues. So we have a ring by Jennifer and it's I think it's very interesting because it's obviously Jennifer is a Chinese, so you can see the cultural heritage, the tea. It's a teapot ring. And it has a surprise. You can lift up the lid, and you have the Chinese knot luck. So the symbol, and it's in red lacquer. So the whole ring is platinum, rock crystal, onyx, and it's a pink tourmaline, I believe. The pink stone mounted, reverse mounted. You lift it up, and there is the lacquer motif. So there are all these elements of art, sort of classic Art Deco. The use of unusual material, rock crystal, onyx, platinum, in this sort of rather futuristic design of this teapot, and at the same time referencing her own cultural heritage. So I think it is a very interesting piece, and it's called Cha. And so, and then there is the pendant here by Anna Carolina, and this one is a gold cube when it's closed. So this idea of very plain, I mean, it's sort of streamlined, essential lines, but then there is the surprise. You open it, and there is an aquamarine in a diamond-lined box, and that is the back. That's why it's called backstage. So it's really sort of ultimate luxury. You have just this pendant. I was speaking earlier on with the tutor that guided, Sara Guglianelli, that guided the students in creating, and it would seem that she said that the fil rouge between all these designs is the fact that they are sort of movable, which is something that is not exactly Art Deco. The fact that the ring slides and you can wear it into two. The brooch fans out. This one you lift up, and this other one you open. So it is quite interesting that maybe she was suggesting that maybe this is the line, there are these ingredients, but they're taken a step forward, and it just happens. Obviously, they all designed according to their own feeling and their own brief, but the common denominator would seem to be this fact that they are transformable, not that they do some other object, but they reveal something else.
Absolutely. Hidden gems.
Hidden gems.
How much time did they have to accomplish the work?
We've had 2 months.
2 months. So actually, and that was above, so very, very tight schedule.
3 projects at the same time, and this is one of them.
Okay.
So they did 3 projects. And I repeat for those who may be at the back that so 3 projects simultaneously, 2 projects simultaneously. But it was a project that lasted 2 months. So you're quite.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. So I think we brought a lot of interesting topics to our conversation. I think it was very interesting to listen from all my guests, all their different point of views. Somehow, trying to summarize, Art Deco still lingers in our lives, right? I think it is really influencing a lot everything which is the output from a design point of view. I would say also a status of mind somehow, because in all your conversations, you were really bringing also this element of, you know, the new way society is evolving, developing, starting from those interesting roots that started with Art Deco. So I really would like my guest to just conclude our conversation just with a few words about Art Deco, past and future, and in which way somehow, you know, this legacy you believe will still develop and go ahead. Who wants to start?
Well, I think, I mean, what is, it's the straight lines. I think that is, you know, it's something I was thinking about in jewelry. The sort of straight lines in design really didn't exist until the 1920s. And it's something that has remained, and that's, I think, what is the continuity and what is still relevant today is the sort of the straight, the line. Because if you think in the past, it was much more about curves and rounded, this sort of precision, which of course is aided also by the precision of the cuts. And that is something that carries on.
Right. Thank you, Amanda. Valerie?
How to conclude about such a vast subject as the Art Deco. But yes, I think the geometrical lines are so beautiful and so perfect that they're never going to go out of fashion. And Coco Chanel used to say, everything that's in fashion is already out of fashion. And I would say that's what I would conclude with, the intemporality of the Art Deco.
Thank you. Alice?
I probably see the perfection and the geometry of Art Deco as a way to, how would I say, rationalize the life of today. We are full of everything. We are full of inputs from outside. So probably some nice, beautiful, simple things that can be beautiful being simple. I think it's the future as well, because we will always have so many more inputs, but recognizing the beauty of something that is simple and plain, I think it's something to take into consideration.
Thank you.
And
Alexandra?
for me, to conclude, for me, the Art Deco pieces, you can see in 1 second, it's an Art Deco piece. You don't have to think about which year is Art Deco. And for me, this is the most important. It was
The recognizability.
the recognizability in 1 second. You are sure it's Art Deco. Maybe modern Art Deco, but it's Art Deco.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for our conversation, and this leaves us some time also for our audience in case there are questions or curiosity you want to ask to our guests today. Feel free. We are here for you.
Giovanni, une question?
No questions because we covered all your curiosities.
Une
But
question
we
dans
have
le
a
fond.
question over there, yeah.
Thank you very much. It was really, really interesting. I picked up one notion about movement of jewelry, and it was you who were saying jewelry needs to move. Is that a notion of Art Deco, or is that a notion of modernity?
That's a really good question. Movement is life, you know, and jewelry is feminine. For me, jewelry, of course, it can be masculine also, but I don't know. There's something, like I said, about the dance. I love jewelry that moves well, and I think it needs to kind of move with you, you know? So, yeah, it's Art Deco, but not only, it's modern. And, you know, anything that, like we said, is intemporal, it's forever, it's always going to be, movement is always going to be something very important in jewelry and in life, really.
Thank you very much.
And Valerie, I'd like to add also the notion of wearability,
Yeah,
because
that's so
I think
important.
that's important in everyday life.
Yeah.
Somehow, that your jewelry
Yes.
needs to be moving, but it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be
I-
stuck.
Like,
kind of.
yeah, totally. It's really something that, like I said, when I said again, I'm a woman, I create jewelry for women, and because I want the jewelry to feel like a second skin, you know, I want to really, the jewelry, nothing must stick out. It must be like silk. When we finish a jewel, we in our atelier, we always pass a silk scarf around and inside, because if anything scratches, it's terrible, because if you're wearing stockings, you know what's going to happen, right? It's terrible. So jewelry has to be like silk, like skin. So wearable, of course, yeah, you want to wear, and you don't want to feel it. It's like a pair of earrings. I don't know anybody out there worn earrings that are heavy. It's horrible. You know, you suffer, right? You suffer. You need to take them off. So I have a theory that one earring should never weigh more than 4 or 5 grams is the grand maximum of gold, right? So yeah, that's part of it. And necklace is the same. You know, if you have a very big, chunky, heavy necklace, it hurts your cervicals. Voilà.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a question over there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for the insightful and wonderful panel. I wanted to ask about the new generation. What is, let's say, 1 or 2 things that inspires you about the new generation that you can, something that you can apply in your own, whether it's collecting or design or craftsmanship, something that new generation has brought that you have either been inspired of or learned that helps you now in your own like daily expertise?
It's me.
It's for everyone.
So I'll tell you, I love young people. My clients I have a lot of very young people. Like I told you, a lot of people come for engagement rings, and I look at them, I listen to them, and they inspire me every day in my designs. That's how, thanks to the young people, I modernize my jewelry, because first of all, I have like more than 350 designs, but I also make a lot of sur mesure, like you do, you know, for people who bring me their stones and everything, and I'm gonna make a design for them. So it's kind of like when you go to the hairdresser, you know, you tell the hairdresser what you want, and then you want him to look at you to see what's gonna look good on you. Well, it's the same when you're a designer. You're going to look at the person. You're going to see how they are. You're going to see inside them. I'm going to feel their personality. I'm going to see what they want, you know, inside of what they want, and listen to them and make what they want. So that's how my designs evolve a lot towards young people. They're very inspiring, the young generation. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. It's what is interesting is a fresh look on some, let's say, traditional canons. You know, you've got a set of rules, I mean, of sort of design things, and it's a fresh approach. So it's interesting, though I think it was quite a tough brief for them to keep within the framework of the Art Deco, but do something different. And that is always, I think, a challenge. I'm not a designer. I think I would be terrified to be a designer because, you know, it's such a challenge, you know, and it's a tough challenge. And I think, you know, I think a lot of people will, you know, that's what designers do. Every day is a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Reinterpreting, doing something different with a set of old rules.
Yeah, I think new generations really ask you to experiment and to renew. So I think new generations are a bit judgy sometimes as well. And so there's the sustainability concept that is very important. We, like new generation, can see from the past what already was done. So what they ask for now, it's sustainability and wearability, as we were saying before. So now it's impossible that someone could buy a very heavy earring, for example. So with the new materials that we can use now, it's important to like use those kind of materials and introduce those kind of materials. So if you don't do that, I think new generation don't understand. They would feel you're stuck to the past. So I think new generations bring innovation, sustainability, and a desire to improve every day, which is typical, I think, of the new moving and very fast world.
Completely correct. If we have the opportunity to use these new materials, like titanium, and we can work on bigger volume, lighter, why not? This is the new generation today. Donc, we have to use this technical to bring more design, more volumes in the jewelry. Otherwise, it's impossible to wear. It's a jewelry piece of window, and is not what we want today.
Absolutely. But then I also would like to add, to your question, the approach young generation have, and bring you just a small anecdote about yesterday. I had a few of my students who are studying management, luxury management here in Geneva, and it was their first time at GEM Genève. It was so interesting to see their faces about discovering the history of design and jewelry. And at the same time, the way they were approaching their discovery had, as they were mentioning, the innovation thinking, but at the same time, you had that element of admirative wow, just by looking and observing what was done in the past. And when they went to the exhibition about Art Deco, they were really commenting about the innovation that was already happening in those years, and at the same time, in which way innovation could be brought further in their everyday life. So this nice balance between studying, digging into what was the past, always giving this new modern glance, I think it's, at the end of the day, really, the recipe for all of us, to develop and to go further in our jobs and also in the approach towards the new generation.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I just want to share a quick note on my side. I born and raised in a city called Casablanca. Casablanca is well known as one of the major focus on Art Deco, and it's impacted so much the history of our jewelries in Morocco. So for example, we have so many belts, gold belts, based on Art Deco, because it's a hybrid style between France and Morocco. And you can see it all around the city. So I just invite all of you, if you are really curious about Art Deco, to come and see Casablanca. It's like 3 hours from here, and you have amazing places to see this beautiful craftsmanship, and more than ever, see the beauty of something really aesthetic, but mixing cultures. Because Art Deco is not only lines, it's also materials, and it's go deeper into that. And the Mediterranean Sea with coral impacts so much the jewelry and gives so much view on what you can see today. So jewelry is international, but have a major base on what France did and impact all around the world. So that's just a quick note on my side.
Thank you. I have to say I've never been to Casablanca, so now you gave me...
More than happy to welcome you all. And more than ever, Morocco is a beautiful country for craftsmanship too. We are well known for silver and some special stones, and also mainly on Art Deco style. So check online and come visit us, because we have a beautiful kingdom.
Thank you very much. Any other topics you would like us to discuss with you, share? So I once again want to thank you all for your attention, for being with us today. And a big thank you to my guests. They all shared so many interesting insights, knowledge, education, culture. And well done to all of you. Front row, really. So I think they also need a huge applause. Thank you very much for your time, your attention, and
Donatella, we also have to
enjoy.
say, from Rome, but very cosmopolitan. As we
Absolutely.
know, Rome is the center of the world.
Yeah.
Roma caput mundi, and you have them all here. So
Absolutely, that's great. You all
representatives
came. Yeah.
from India, China, Colombia, Mexico, yes. So, and Rome/Venezuela, no? Or Italy, Venezuela.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.